Hey Space Sailors, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. We've just declined the Gardener's offer to become a virtual entity, so we are staying planted firmly in the physical world for now. And our deadline to make this run to the refugee flotilla is almost up, so we're going to scramble to try and get everything finished before that happens. A couple of quest lines we didn't actually fully complete yet. Sleeper, long time. Moritz is smiling at you when you leave, clearly happy to see you again. Moritz, good to see you. Same. He rubs his hands on his jacket. How you been? Oh, really well, Moritz. Good to hear it. He looks you up and down. I knew you'd make it work. You're a smart one. He glances around. Hey, look, I'm not down here to chat, though. I know Bliss said she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she's changed her mind, or something. He grins, because now we have someone looking for a refit of their ship in our bay. You would not believe it. They want their entire ship disarmed. Cutting out defense arrays, weapon lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. He leans in. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with all the hardware we'll have there when we're done. He laughs. Anyway, it's a massive job and we need some hands. Bliss said to go get you. So come on up. Bliss is waiting on you to accept the job. He pauses. It'll be good to have you up there again. He grins. Like old times. It's been like a couple of days. Okay, but I'm not spending any dice on this yet. When you should enter the bay, it's weirdly quiet. Moritz must be out on some errand, and maybe Bliss is prepping the kit. Sleeper. Ankita's drifting at one side of the bay. You missed her completely when you came in. Oh damn, her ship's the one we're disarming? The idea of not seeing Ankita when you entered the room would have seemed unlikely to you several cycles ago, but seeing her without her armor, she seems smaller, less imposing. Ankita? She nods and kicks off from the wall, drifting closer. So what is this, she asks. Come to avenge Ashton or a sleeper, or just looking for another payout? Her anger is familiar, but quieter than before. Restrained. I don't want to fight, Ankita. Then why are you here? She looks away, and you can tell her anger isn't directed at you in particular. It radiates off her like fire. You better be ready to sign, comes a shout from the bay entrance, because I've got my best repair tech coming up here especially, and they are going to... Bliss glides in and suddenly stops herself when she sees you and Ankita standing off. Oh, Sleeper, you're already here. Miss Cassetta, this is the tech I was telling you about. Best on the hub. She stops, looking between the two of you. Wait, do you two know each other? You and Ankita look at each other. We work together. Bliss squints at you both before continuing. Bliss produces a slate. Now, Miss Cassetta, if you'd like to sign our damage waiver here, we can start on the decommissioning. She looks at you. My tech here is eager to get started, as am I. Ankita scrawls her signature across the slate. Thank you, Bliss pauses. And everything's okay with the special payment terms we discussed? She gives Ankita a strange smile. All fine, says Ankita, giving you another hard look. Then she kicks off and drifts to the entrance. I'll be in the gimbal, she says, and leaves. Special payment terms? She looks over her glasses at you. Look, Sleeper, there's something I have to tell you. She glances around again. What is she so nervous about? This isn't exactly a typical job. Miss Cassetta, Ankita, she gives you a knowing look, doesn't have the chits to pay us, so we've made a special agreement. She sighs. I'm leaving. You're leaving? Keep it down, I haven't told Moritz yet. She looks down. Just waiting to break it to him. Don't you tell him either. She stares hard at you. I'll tell him when I'm ready, and I don't want him getting worried about Ankita's history. He can be very protective. Yeah, I've noticed. Look, all I care is that she's headed for the starboard belt. She looks out at the bay. That's where I'm headed. She turns back to face you. Also, I wanted to ask, she stops, unsure, if you'd like to come with us. Maybe I would. Maybe I would, you know. She interrupts before you answer. I know things are a bit hard for you on the eye, and you helped me so much. I asked Ankita if she'd carry two of us, and she said yes. Moritz will take over the bay anyway, though if you stay, you're welcome to help him run it. I just thought, she sighs, you might be in need of a fresh start as much as I am. She turns away nervously. Think about it anyway. The berth is there. We've got to finish the job first anyway. And with that, she kicks away and heads to the racks before you can offer an answer. Moments later, Moritz enters with a new cutting torch for the disarming of the ambergris. The starboard belt. You push your thoughts to the back of your mind. Time to get to work. Actually, I reflexively said yes, but we've kind of built a life for ourselves here. I'm not sure we do want to go. I want to wrap up other quests first, at least, for sure. What's going on over here? Timer's up on this, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no. Do I have enough time to finish this? Because if I could, that would be helpful, I think. Okay, we're gonna be at 5 out of 6 overall. That's not that bad, right? You managed to hit the hangar during a shift change, and the whole place is empty. You come away with a thruster set with little effort. Peak grins as you pile the ion thruster sets onto the motorized trolley in a derelict loading bay. I borrowed this from Ash. I barely know how it works. They seem giddy at the idea of stealing the ship parts from Havenage. Thought you worked for XBR. I did, but not as a repair tech. They help you heave the thruster into position. My specialty was computer systems. I mostly worked on keeping the protocols that ran the refueling platforms from totally decaying due to lack of use. There's a load of platforms in orbit of the moon Hawthorne is on, and Cinder itself. Ash and I ended up having to head out to them regularly to work on them. Sounds like hard work. Are you kidding? Pig smiles. That was the best job at Hawthorne. You get assigned a ship, you get to leave the colony for a bit. So much better than outpost maintenance or canteen work. The only reason we got assigned it was that Ash's mother is the administrator of Hawthorne, and Ash managed to get my name on the list, too. Pig looks for the trolley's ignition. Ash is always saving me. They find the switch and hit it, and the trolley starts whining. Pig looks at the thrusters. Ash will install these. The Briar's her baby, really. Pig looks towards the bay exit. Truth be told, I was surprised she could bring herself to take it from her mother. Losing a ship? That has to have hurt the colony. How many ships does Hawthorne have? 4. Well, 3 now that the climbing Briar's gone. That's not a whole lot, to be fair. Pig tucks their hair behind an ear. 1 barely runs, so I imagine they'll have to reduce the number of fuel platforms they can actively maintain. Pig frowns for a second and then shakes their head. Anyway, screw them. Pig shuffles the trolley out of the bay into the corridor. They'll manage without the Briar. No choice. Pig smiles. And I have to admit, I'd love to have seen her face when she saw we had gone. Pig pauses. Don't tell Ash that. They walk on quietly, lost in their memories of Hawthorne. Okay, I think I can manage the rest. Pig brushes their hair out of their face. You've done more than enough this cycle. Pig looks over the thrusters. Once these are fitted, the Briar will handle better than ever. You might even get a thank you from Ash. Pig laughs. They head off into the corridor, the trolley whining its high-pitched whine. See you soon. Okay. It's 5 out of 6. I mean, I don't think it's possible to finish this one, but I'll try. Carefully code a timed emergency maintenance program to take out some of the sensors in the cycle Ash is planning to make her run. I don't actually think partial is doing anything, but... Well, that was garbage. Okay. I hate to leave the clock on finished at all, but it is what it is. The only other things I can do, well, there's really 3 things. The side reel, Rabia, well, and up there, but I think that's like the end game one way or, well, the other part of it. There's several ends here, clearly. We are not great at any of these. Let's just do a hack or something. Okay, this is the cycle that all goes off. I don't think we have time. We ran pretty close. If we hadn't had Bliss's stuff going on simultaneously, we would have made it, but... She's gone, Sleeper. Peak is breathless and shaking. She started the run without us. Oh, shit. Let's go. If we head to the cordon now... Peak starts back up to the corridor. They turn back. She has to make it, Sleeper. She has to. A shiver runs down her spine. Esh, I hope you know what you're doing. Pretty much. Okay, I guess, yeah, we definitely can't finish the last thing. Well, let me buy some fungus. Oh, let me feed the cat, too. let's go. See what happens, I guess. You arrive, frantic and anxious at the cordon. Peak is nowhere to be seen. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway. The metal stairway Helene's drone led you through before, the one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. Sleeper, Peak emerges from light. I know she's trying to protect me, but... It's alright, Peak. She made her choice. But what about my choice, Sleeper? I'm not a child anymore. I can fight for myself. They turn away. There she is. Peak rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the Climbing Briar's blue XPR livery against the black of the void. You spot the Climbing Briar, a glint of blue and white, and beside it the red glare of a tug's lights. The tug crew went with her, Peak smiles. I knew they'd keep their word. That'll help. Peak doesn't seem to hear you, but the idea of the crew backing Ash up makes you smile. Maybe this thing will work. And they got 2 out of 3 as far as that goes, so we'll see. You watch as the Briar and its tug escort arc down towards the edge of the cordon, demarcated by the red lights of the perimeter system. So far, so good. The Briar will just look like another refugee ship being escorted into the cordon, at least at a glance. Peak grips the rail as Ash reaches the edge of the cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Can she pass through? Response is immediate. The moment the Briar hits the net of sensors, the entire cordon reacts. Sequences of blinking lights cascade out from the ship's position, the angry red of the cordon multiplied many times over. Shit. Peak presses a hand against the window. Go, Ash, go! As if responding to Peak, the Briar goes into a steep dive, plunging through the skin of the cordon into the mess of ships beneath. You move closer to the window without thinking, unable to take your eyes off the rapidly descending ship spinning between the hulls of the flotilla, a group of tugs now tracing its path in pursuit. She's gonna have to do this fast. Peak looks concerned as the Briar searches for a place to dock. You glance around for pursuing tugs, but for the moment they seem to be elsewhere. Ash pulls the ship in, aiming to dock with the largest of the flotilla's ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its placid exterior. They'll be offloading everything now, Peak says, both assuring you and themselves that everything's going to plan. Think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar and how long the process of unloading them might take. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Ash as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Ash as she's showered with the thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading. It's breaking off. Peak points at the Briar, and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies an emergency depressurization. Ash must have ended things early, but why? Then you see them, the tugs closing in on the Briar. Havenage must have spotted the ship. You and Peak are up against the window again, willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. Briar struggles to navigate in the crowded flotilla, and the tugs seem to be closing on her. Both you and Peak are silent, every bit of energy you have being sent to Ash in the pilot seat of the Briar. She cuts through the crowded flotilla, then suddenly disappears. Did the ship hit something? Was it disabled? Both you and Peak are searching the black for a sign. Where's she gone? Where are you, Ash? Peak is frantic now, leaning against the window, but the Briar is nowhere to be seen. You both search the flotilla for that streak of blue, but see nothing. Time passes. Peak passes the observation deck. The hope fades. They caught her. Peak managed to get the words out. She delivered the supplies, but they caught her. They slam a hand against the glass. I mean, Havenage aren't really tyrants. I'm sorry. This was stupid, Sleeper. Peak looks back at you, their eyes wet. A stupid plan. We had a ship and our freedom. Now what do we have? Peak slams a hand on the glass in frustration, making you jump. I won't be trapped again. I won't. They turn and rush out of the observation deck before you can say anything, leaving you alone with the cold and the light. Uh-oh. Okay, damn. I mean, we got very close to fully succeeding, but clearly there's a bit of a problem here, yeah? Eileen left a message with one of her drones for you to meet her here once she's done cleaning up the mess. Wonder if we'd fully completed everything, if it could have been done smoothly. Like, without being detected at all? Maybe. We were awfully close, but just didn't quite come together. Alright, let's, gotta get some mushrooms replanted so that we can get that stuff for free, and then, it's the side reel, it's Rabia, and to be fair, I think the bar has a thing that we never did, so we should check that out too. Oh damn, I can get scrap there, at the cost of condition, but... Plus energy, plus yet again. Plus energy, plus yet again. Plus energy, plus yet again. It's pretty much the same, huh? Plus energy, plus yet again, okay. As you say your goodbyes to the other enforcers and walk back through the low end, a chirruping catches your attention. In a quiet corridor away from the main thoroughfare, someone has stuck a small recorder to the wall with suit sealant tape. Written across the fluorescent tape is one word: sleeper. You peel it away from the wall, and as you do, it triggers some kind of improvised trip switch. Sleeper. Sabine's voice crackles through. I've seen you with Yet Again members. Are they holding you captive now, too? A high whine. I'm sorry if I've dragged you into this. Do not trust them. Something is happening within the gang, some kind of power struggle. You cover the speaker a little, their voice too loud in the quiet corridor. I will come soon. Thanks to your efforts, I've located most of their properties. At the right time, a pause. I'll see you soon. Don't give up. Remember our deal. The recording cuts out. You stare at the recorder, processing what you've just heard. Hearing Sabine's voice again opens up something inside of you. An Essen ARP employee. Do they know that I know? You struggle with a mix of concern and distrust. Maybe I'm wrong too, but I trust Sabine. She didn't run away to open a clinic, a free clinic for people for nothing. You throw the recorder into a nearby waste chute as you leave the corridor, still unsure who to trust, and head quietly out of the low end. Cat. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna push through this now, basically. Well, I'll save one for... Damn, even the best results here are only +1. Okay, let me harvest the last of this. And there's a club head. Okay, let's give those to her. Rico chats to you about recent events while she prepares the stabilizer. You always enjoy these visits. And then, yeah, to grow more, we're going to need to get more spores, which means we're going to have to go down here. So bear that in mind, but the farm is pretty, is definitely our best way of getting stabilizer overall. Especially now that there's not really any pressing time pressure at the moment. Oh, I forgot I can... That's decent enough. Oh. Lost this energy. Oh well. Well, there we go. You chase off a group of kids throwing stones at a woman's unit, but lose them in the tangled corridors. You give up exhausted. Oh, that's the negative result. Okay. You're told Rabia wishes to speak with you at her office. This time you meet inside Rabia's office, although now that you've seen it, office seems like the wrong term. You find her stood in an almost bare, shadowy unit midway through a sequence of stretches. There are 2 low stools and a terminal in the corner, but it seems most of the space is taken up by a heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and a stack of weights. When Rabia turns to greet you, you realize she's missing an arm. The prosthetic she usually wears is set in a cradle near the terminal, a web of colored wires running to it. Updates, she says, noticing you looking where her artificial arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with. Of course. Sit, says Rabia, gesturing to the 2 diminutive stools. You both settle on the stools, Rabia crossing her legs on top and sitting straight backed. Gia told me you've been doing the rounds, collecting tithes, patrolling the ward. She smiles. Some of the enforcers are impressed, and I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to see for myself. She raises an eyebrow. See what for yourself? Well, if the stories are true. I see. Rabia flexes her neck side to side. And, the conclusion? I'm still deciding. Well, Sleeper, Rabia says teasingly, please keep us updated on any progress. She smiles a thin smile. Joking aside, I know that for you life on the eye has been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Though some of our members may not see it this way, I know you too are a refugee. She looks at you solemnly. That is why you've come to us. Enough, Rabia. Sabine's voice cuts through the conversation. I'm tired of listening to your affected nobility. They cross the room, Rabia's baton in their hand, the end lit with sparking electricity. Rabia looks between the 2 of you. I suppose this ambush was another cooperation between you 2? She looks strangely unfazed. I mean, it wasn't really, actually. Sabine pauses, thrown off by your silence. Rabia takes this opportunity to act. She leaps from the stool and, feinting past Sabine, grabs the baton and twists it inwards. She's by far the stronger, and she pushes Sabine to their knees, plunging the crackling end of the baton towards their chest. They freeze there, Sabine struggling to keep the crackling baton from their skin. No, let's not. Then you support them, Rabia asks you, her eyes not leaving Sabine. Your loyalties are so easily swayed. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabia, Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabia holds the baton strong, and for a moment you think she's about to hammer it down into Sabine's chest, but after a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, then spins the baton in her hand, thumbing a switch and shutting it off in a single move. What the hell's this about, Rabia? They both look at you, still catching their breath as if they'd forgotten about your presence. Explain what? How the moment I call, my enforcers will come down here and take them away? Rabia cracks her neck. You're lucky I didn't kill you. I would have had every right. Every right! She shouts, the anger a release of tension more than a threat. Sabine lifts themselves a little. Bruised from the fall, they roll onto their side and cough. Rabia gives them some space, sitting back on the stool. Sabine props themselves up on their elbows and fixes Rabia with a hard stare. You have something to say? Rabia taunts. Say it. This is your final opportunity, because after this, she laughs, no coming back. What's the point? Sabine breathes heavily. She refuses to listen to criticism of the great Yatagan project. Rabia collects herself. Speak. She folds her arms and waits to be convinced. Sabine takes a breath, organizing their thoughts. They go to start, pause, then decide on another approach. Eventually, they say it. Yannick is a traitor. Rabia immediately flinches, her eyes going to her prosthetic arm, her muscles clenching. But she rides it out, more eager to prove Sabine wrong than she is to hurt them, at least for now. When I came here from SNARP, they glance at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was one of the first to support me, to look after me. I should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Sabine turns to you. Sleeper, they take a breath. I know that I should have told you I worked for SNARP long ago, but I thought you would abandon me, and you are my final friend. What you should know is that I left SNARP because I was running for my life. I leaked documents on the Sleeper program, on the illegal and immoral practices it relied on, to the press. SNARP wanted me dead, and I fled as fast as I could to this refuge at the edge of the surrogate systems. Sabine stops to collect himself. What does this have to do with Yannick? Rabia interrupts. The Sleeper knows you're SNARP, I told them. And while you hide beneath the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you worked on the Sleeper program. Yannick told me as much. Sabine's face falls. It is true. They glance at you and then away, ashamed. They lift their head. But it is Yannick, not me, who's in the pocket of Essenarp. Rabia flinches again. I can prove it. He made some kind of deal to keep me here, to tie me up in debt, to lock me away. In exchange... Rabia slams her hand on the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake. In exchange for those, Sabine finishes, nodding towards Rabia's prosthetic arm and its cradle. He's been using Yadigan enforcers, using you as test subjects for SNRP technology. I have the data to prove it. He's been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments and having me fit them, knowing each one's capturing data and sending it back to its makers. Rabia's fixed expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slate. It's all here. Thousands of hours of usage data, failure rates, error dumps. These are untested implants, Rabia. They could short out, fail, cause cascading failures across a person's body. And they have. Sabine suddenly looks incredibly tired. I thought the error rate in the units was down to them being stolen or modified. I've tried to fix hundreds of failures in my time here. Not all of them. They stop, unable to continue. Rabia closes her eyes and breathes in, then she opens them again. She holds out a hand to Sabine. Show me, she says. Later, much later, when you leave, Sabine is still taking Rabia through the manifests and usage data. Both of them crowded around the terminal as Sabine leads Rabia through each layer of Yannick's betrayal. As you leave, Sabine catches your eye and something passes between you. Something like a thank you, or a sorry, or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. Alright, pulled that off. We got 3 days before that's done. But I think we need to go meet somebody over here now. Helene. Yep. I'm sorry, Sleeper. Helene comes towards you along the walkway. But your friend must have known there was a chance this would happen. She seems unsure of how to greet you and looks nervously around. She's being held along with her ship. Well, now. I don't know, Sleeper. I don't know. Helene pinches the bridge of her nose. Cordon Security has your friend, and she and her ship will be held in the quarantine until it's lifted. As for the quarantine, she glances at her slate. We're working on it, but the council's unlikely to budge now. Not after this. She runs a hand through her hair. It's the last thing I needed. Helene meets your eye. She managed to smuggle some supplies through, but we couldn't trace them. The refugees had already hidden them by the time we arrived. And the refugees? Well, the flotilla got its supplies. Your friend has to be commended for that. Helene shoots you a glance. Even if her stunt has only worsened the crisis, the reports we're getting from the refugees is that things are stable there. They seem to be well organized. So well organized, in fact, that they've stopped speaking to us. She looks nervously around. I'm sorry, Sleeper, about what's happening in there, but after recent events, Cordon Security are keeping the place locked down tighter than ever. No one can get in. Meanwhile, the hardline counselors are preaching in the chamber as we speak. It's a deadlock, and I don't know when it will loosen its grip. Helene walks a little way and turns back. I wish I had better news, Sleeper, but we knew this was coming. What can be done? It's a waiting game now. I'll do my best to make my voice heard in the debates, to persuade members, and we will see what can be done. We still don't know why the flotilla came here, why they abandoned settlements and outposts throughout the system to flee to this ruined station. What little we heard from them concerned computer and life support systems collapsing in waves, machinery in flux. Helene sucks in a breath. This isn't over. You think of the people of the flotilla. Helene's right. People don't abandon their homes for nothing. What wave is rushing through the system, and when will it reach the eye? Helene interrupts your thoughts. I have to go. The debates will restart soon, and I should be there. She waits for a moment, and it's unclear if she's trying to think of something to say or just waiting for you to speak. But the silence keeps you both quiet, and she walks off down the corridor, a nod the only farewell she offers. You hoped speaking to her might ease the knot of worry in your chest, but it remains there, reminding you of Esh, of the refugees, and of the wait ahead. What is done, no matter how many times you turn it over in your head. You get the feeling you'll be needed soon, and for that you must save your strength. What was it Fang told you then said? The eye opens for us all. Not this time. For now, the eye remains closed to those that need it. A shudder runs through you. Something's coming, you can feel it. This isn't over. Okay, we now have a 3-day timer only. I think there's 3 episodes here, so we're only a third of the way done through with this. Now all we can do is wait to see what happens next. The Gathering Storm. Okay, well, Is there another upgrade available? No, not really. We have a point, but there's nothing to spend it on. Let's grab some spores. So that we can get this garden replanted. Right? Gotta keep that up steadily so that we'll have stabilizer. And then, crikey. It's the bar, the side reel, and, well, that and that, the refugee thing, but only once they're both done, so... I think we can finish the side reel. We're not gonna leave on it. If we're gonna leave, it's gonna be on Bliss's thing, so... I don't particularly mind if we finish this in relatively decent time. It pays too, so could be worse. Halfway there. Each cycle you see another piece slot in place. Camaraderie, care, focus, progress. Shifts like this give you energy, especially when you look back at the sidereal horizon, growing impossibly. The bar too, yeah. I don't need the bar shifts at all, but I just want to progress this quest line. I kind of forgot for a while that it even existed, but... As you start your shift, a crew of salvagers barge in, and the next few hours are a whirlwind of chatter and long pores. They tip well. People flow in and out of the overlook, keeping you busy. Your mind drifts to those easy fantasies of just passing through. Alright, end cycle. We've got like one more before any of the timers expire, so we're gonna rush through as much of these, yeah, that's still, so yeah. We're gonna get through as much of these two as we can. Pays decent at least. And we're making cryo like crazy. Fungus, please, Emphas. Not that I even really have much of a need for money at this point. But... gotta buy crackers for the cat, at least. Nope. Whoa. Thanks for watching, Space Sailors. Hope you enjoyed. New episodes will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like or subscribing. And have a nice day, Space Sailors. This is Sea Lord Agenda, signing off.